In this video, we'll be revealing what you need to know about retiring at 62 with $3 million and why having that money doesn't automatically mean that you're set for life. Through working with clients considering early retirement with substantial portfolios, we've discovered that the real reason isn't how much you have, it's how strategically you use it during the critical gap years before Medicare and Social Security. That's why we're making this video today, to show you what retiring at 62 with $3 million actually looks like and the specific challenges you need to navigate to make your wealth last. Let's get into it. Let's start by meeting a hypothetical couple we'll call Brett and Lisa. They're both 62, they've worked hard, saved diligently, and accumulated a $3 million portfolio, mostly in pre-tax 401ks and IRAs, along with a sizable brokerage account and a small Roth. On paper, they look golden. They feel like they should be ready to retire, but they're hesitant. They're facing a 3-year gap before Medicare. They're confused about the best time to claim Social Security, and they're worried about taxes eating into their savings. That $3 million feels less like a guarantee and more like a complex puzzle with very high stakes. They feel stuck between the desire to retire early and the fear of making a costly mistake. Now, Brett and Lisa's situation is common. Navigating these complexities requires more than just having money. It requires having a structured process focused on controlling what you can control. And that's the foundation of building a successful retirement plan. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through how Brett and Lisa used this process to move from anxiety to clarity. It starts with the most crucial step, assessing their situation. The very first thing we did in the assessment step was to confront the biggest elephant in the room for early retirees, the healthcare cost challenge. Brett and Lisa knew that they faced a 3-year gap before Medicare kicked in at age 65. What they didn't fully grasp was the magnitude of that risk. We assessed their specific situation. Based on data from sources like the Kaiser Family Foundation, the average unsubsidized cost for a benchmark silver plan for a couple aged 60 to 64 can easily exceed $25,000 per year. That's depending on location. That's a potential $75,000 drain on their $3 million before even considering deductibles, prescriptions, or other actual medical expenses that might happen. Then we assessed the impact of the new One Big Beautiful Bill Act. We showed them exactly how the reintroduction of the subsidy cliff created a perilous situation. Projecting forward to their planned retirement year of 2026, the threshold for losing all subsidies, which 400% of the federal poverty level is that threshold, and for a 2-person household, that's estimated to be around $84,600 in modified adjusted gross income. As it currently stands, if their Maggie goes even $1 over that projected limit, their subsidies will disappear completely and their costs would skyrocket instantly. This assessment isn't just about numbers, it's about quantifying their biggest fear with real data. This clearly showed them that why simply having $3 million isn't necessarily enough. They need a specific strategy to control a potentially massive unpredictable cost. And while healthcare gaps create expense challenges with early retirement, it's Social Security timing considerations that's another major obstacle early retirees face. Now, as we continue with Brett and Lisa's assessment in Social Security optimization, if you are in a familiar situation and you are considering early retirement, click the link below and book a call, and we'll analyze your specific situation to help you assess and optimize your retirement plan. Continuing with Brett and Lisa, we then tackled their Social Security optimization puzzle. Like many couples, they were confused by conflicting advice and tempted by that immediate cash flow of claiming Social Security right at age 62. Our assessment started by showing them their specific numbers. We pulled their Social Security statements and we mapped out the stark difference. Claiming now at age 62 meant a combined benefit of roughly $3,500 per month, permanently reduced, but if they could strategically delay until age 70, their combined benefit would grow to be over $6,200 per month, guaranteed and inflation adjusted in the future. We assessed this not just as income, but as a valuable asset requiring a strategic decision. We analyze the trade-offs, right? Taking the lower benefit now versus funding bridge years from their $3 million portfolio to capture that guaranteed 8% annual growth by delaying. Our assessment needs to go beyond a simple break-even calculation, so We factored in their specific situation. They were both relatively healthy with good family longevity, making the higher lifetime income from delaying more statistically valuable. We also assessed the impact on survivor benefits, ensuring that Lisa could receive a maximum possible benefit if Brett passed away first. This detailed assessment showed them that the Social Security decision wasn't a simple yes or no at age 62. It's a complex puzzle with significant long-term consequences that needs to be integrated with their overall withdrawal and tax strategy and anchored to their actual income needs. Before we could assess their tax situation or finalize their Social Security strategy, we needed the most critical number in their entire plan. And still in the assessment phase here, we had to focus on calculating Brett and Lisa's portfolio income needs, or as we like to call it, their PIN. And this isn't just a generic number. We sat down with Brett and Lisa and asked them about their ideal retirement lifestyle, travel plans, hobbies, potential support for family, everything. When calculating portfolio income needs, it's important to consider both your essential expenses, like, again, housing, mortgage, insurance, and your discretionary expenses, the things that make retirement worth living, right? We then calculated the actual after-tax cost of that lifestyle, subtracting their expected Social Security income based on different claiming scenarios we were modeling. We arrived at their PIN, the specific amount their $3 million portfolio needed to generate each year. For Brett and Lisa, that number came out to $90,000 per year after taxes. This $90,000 PIN became the anchor for all subsequent decisions. It told us how much income we needed to generate from their portfolio, and it became the target that we had to hit while managing healthcare costs, optimizing Social Security, and navigating the tax challenges that we assessed next. With Brett and Lisa's PIN established at $90,000 a year after taxes, we could finally assess the tax sequencing challenge with precision. This is where we mapped out their $3 million portfolio across 3 tax buckets. Their situation was, in taxable accounts, $800,000, a sizable brokerage account. In tax-deferred accounts, they had $2 million. That was held in traditional 401ks and some old IRAs. And then they had a relatively speaking, small amount in Roth accounts at $200,000. The assessment showed the danger, right? If they started pulling their $90,000 needs mainly from their tax-deferred accounts, their taxable income would skyrocket. The amount that they would have to withdraw to net $90K would immediately push their Maggie far above the projected $84,000 subsidy cliff, costing them thousands in ACA premiums and the possible need to withdraw even more money to pay for that. It would also fill up the lower tax brackets, like the 12 and 22% tax brackets, that would eliminate the opportunity for strategic Roth conversions during those prime low-income window years between retirement at 62 and age 70. Furthermore, we assessed the long-term tax implications. Heavy withdrawals from tax-deferred accounts early on and tapping into Social Security sooner could eventually make more of their Social Security benefits taxable and potentially trigger higher Medicare premiums, called IRMA, once they turn 65. This assessment made it crystal clear. Their $3 million wasn't just one big pool of money, and in the order in which they tapped those different tax buckets will dramatically impact how much they actually need to withdraw to keep or net $90,000 each year. This highlights the critical need for a strategic withdrawal sequence, which we will design in the next phase of the plan. And now that you understand the importance of a tax sequence and strategy, if you feel like you are in a similar situation, considering early retirement with substantial assets, click the link below to book a call, and we'll analyze your situation to help you optimize your retirement plan as a whole. Okay, the final piece of the assessment step for Brett and Lisa involved evaluating a Roth growth strategy as a tool to protect against future tax increases. Given that the bulk of their savings was in tax-deferred accounts, our assessment highlighted a significant long-term risk, potentially rising tax rates. Tax rates are currently historically low right now, but there's no guarantee that they will stay that way forever. A large tax-deferred portfolio is like sitting on a tax time bomb. You don't know exactly when or if it will go off or how big that explosion might be. So our assessment focused on the unique window of opportunity that they had between retiring at age 62 and before they had to start required minimum distributions later in life. We showed them how their potentially low taxable income during these bridge years, if withdrawals were sequenced correctly, creates a prime environment for strategic Roth conversions. We assessed the specific numbers. How much could they convert each year while staying within a low tax bracket, like the 12 or 22% brackets, and staying below the ACA subsidy cliff? What would be the long-term impact on their required minimum distributions and potential Medicare premiums, or IRMA, if they didn't implement some sort of Roth conversion strategy? This assessment demonstrated that proactive Roth conversions weren't just a nice to have in their retirement plan, they were actually a critical risk management tool. It quantified the potential benefit of creating a larger bucket of tax-free money to provide flexibility and protection against the uncertainty of future tax policy. With this comprehensive assessment phase done, Brett and Lisa finally had clarity on their specific challenges and opportunities. The next step in the retirement process was to find their framework. And based on their $3 million portfolio and their $90,000 annual income needs, their PIN, it was clear that they weren't in a shortfall situation. They had the assets. However, their initial lack of structure and the significant risks that we identified, again, healthcare costs, taxes, all placed them in what we would call the strengthened framework. So our goal wasn't just to make retirement possible, but to make it resilient, tax efficient, and built with added security in mind. This led directly to the final step, execution. We didn't just admire the problems, right? We implemented specific prioritized action items to solve them. First, healthcare solutions, right? To control the costs and stay under the projected about $84,000 in modified adjusted gross income subsidy cliff, we implemented a withdrawal strategy focused on their taxable brokerage account for the first 3 years. This secured them those significant Affordable Care Act subsidies, keeping their healthcare premium costs low. They also locked in their Medicare supplement plan during their initial enrollment window. Then we looked at the Social Security solution. Based on their health, longevity, and the income generated from their taxable account, they decided to execute that strategy of delaying both their Social Security benefits until age 70, capturing that 8% annual delayed credit and creating a much larger guaranteed income stream later in life. This meant almost $70,000 in guaranteed annual income, plus inflation adjustments, for them starting at age 70. This will help lower portfolio income needs later on in retirement. Delaying Social Security benefits also allows our Roth strategy to not interfere with taxation on Social Security income during those years. Then we took a look at the tax sequencing and Roth solution. The core of this execution was the withdrawal sequence. By living off of their taxable account for a few years, we kept their income low. This will allow us to systematically execute Roth conversions each year from their traditional IRAs, creating a laddering effect. We will carefully calculate the conversion amounts to fill up the lower tax brackets, again, 12, 22%, without pushing them over the subsidy cliff in future years. This proactively reduces future RMDs and builds a large bucket of tax-free money, protecting them from potential future tax rate increases. Then we took a look at paycheck structure. We implemented a dual 3-bucket system. $250,000, which is 2 years of their PIN before taxes, went into a cash equivalent allocation in their brokerage accounts, ensuring that their income for the next 2 years was safe from any market volatility. The remaining assets were structured for short-term stability and long-term growth. By executing these specific actions, Brett and Lisa transformed their $3 million from a source of anxiety into a well-oiled machine designed to deliver their retirement goals with confidence and control. They didn't just retire at 62, they did it strategically. And now that you understand what you need to know about retiring at 62 with $3 million and how strategic management matters more than portfolio size for early retirement success, you can implement the comprehensive planning that turns substantial wealth into sustainable freedom. Again, if you feel like you're in a similar situation, considering early retirement with substantial assets, click the link below and book a call, and we will analyze your situation and help you optimize your retirement plan for your situation. Until next time, take care.